everyone. Today we got to play Bunny Kingdom. This is a area control building,
card drafting,
kingdom building
game. A pretty light game.
Yeah, it's a light game that we'll be reviewing. But before we dig in, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I'm never going to
Someday, one day.
You must subside.
Sustain. I don't know. All right. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. We would love to have you guys again. So tell us more about the game, Robert.
So Bunny Kingdom, BGG rating is 7.5, came out in 2017. Designer, may have heard of the guy, Richard Garfield. He's made a couple of, one really big game.
Wasn't he president?
Was that Richard Garfield?
No,
I knew Garfield. Yeah, but anyway, he made Magic the Gathering, so pretty big game. Art was by Paul Mathian, I think is how you pronounce it. MSRP is $50, which is a little pricey. But I don't know. We've got a lot of neat little bunny minis here. But I saw ranges of price going anywhere between $39 to $45.
Okay, cool. All right. So let's dig into quality of pieces. I do think you've got these little miniature bunnies in the different player colors as well as miniature cities. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm really kind of bugged out that these are considered buildings where they have real buildings. They should have done something cool for that, I feel like, instead of the cardboard chits. Like, they're going so good, and then it's like, well, why chimps on that?
Right. And then the card stock itself is
have any texture.
Not texture. It's not very thick. So if this is something you're going to play a lot, you definitely would want to sleeve them up.
Yeah. So overall, though, I think it is a pretty board game.
I'd say my only critique is the board. Since it's a folding board, it doesn't sit flat well.
Now, this is a Gen Con release version, first printing, and my sister was here just telling us that they now are doing a bigger board, and we don't have that. So this is our first time.
I think a neoprene mat would be perfect for this game.
Yeah.
And so we have to look into getting a bigger board for it, I think. Yeah.
So let's give it a score with the Gen Con first release version. What is it? What's the score, guys?
It's kind of odd because you got a balance of cool pieces with pieces that's not so cool. So I think I'll go 7.
7? What about you?
I think with this version, I'm probably at a 6.5. I don't think I'm quite out of the 6 range as far as the quality. The cards just aren't there as far as the card quality. And I mean, granted, we'll probably want to sleeve them anyway. But the fact is that they're not the best card quality in the world. I do like the little bunnies. They're cute, and the cities are fine. They're pretty nice too, or at least the plastic cities. So
yeah, I feel like they've got a mishmash because like the bunny figures, wonderful, cities, wonderful, but then they kind of chipped out.
But even the cardboard for the little farms and stuff, it's a decent thickness, and
so those are fun. Yes.
And then you got the kind of crappier board.
Yeah. So that's my thing is like you got the crappy board, crappy cards, but then all the other pieces are great. So it's like, okay, what happened? So I'm going to give this a 7 because I feel like there are some things that I would give it an 8, 8.5, but then there's others that I would give it a 5.
Well, I mean, the board, I mean, the fact that it doesn't even sit.
Yeah, it sit flush when you fold it out.
That's a big issue.
Yeah, then that's where I was saying that, I don't like the board.
Well, in general, I don't like the board, but that is a flaw that impacts the game right there because the score track is divided by it and it's cutting into the actual map. So it's an impact. But, hopefully other people's copies don't work as like ours does. But
yeah, and if they've changed it up too, that will make a difference. From the
that's true too. We haven't looked at later editions of the game because even Rhonda mentioned that the later edition may have come with the bigger board.
Yes, but we don't know whether the condition of that board is any better. It's just bigger.
So, okay. So moving on to theme. I'm not sure what bunnies have to do.
They have to build a kingdom. It's in the title.
Right, but I'm not sure why.
I just think it's because there's so many, and you know what bunnies do. So they reproduce quickly. So I think that might be a play on it a little bit because you just spread. I mean, you only get 4 rounds of the game, and you get a ton of bunnies by the end of the game out on the board.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sure.
That's what I'm going with.
Okay. Okay. Cool. That's fine.
Not strong at all. No strong theme at all.
No strong theme at all. But I mean, it is cute because you got these little bunny figures. So
I think the artwork is what's really going for it, though. It doesn't really thematically push anything. It's just the art on the cards look really nice, both on the placement of the pieces, on the back of the cards. It's just the artwork is really, really nice. I like the art a lot.
what do you think, Randy?
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that the bunnies are there. I mean, it doesn't have any purpose whatsoever, but I'm glad it's bunnies because I think the spreading is why they probably chose the bunnies, and it makes sense. As far as the card art, I wasn't enamored by it, and it felt like it was a little repetitive. Some of the cards the art was pretty consistently being repeated, which I guess is okay because I mean you don't want total differences between your land cards, but it wasn't real striking. I mean, I thought the parchment cards were okay. I like the parchment cards a lot, obviously, because that's what I was collecting. But I think you've actually got more parchments than I did, though. As far as actual score for theme, I'm probably at a 7 on this, is what I'm thinking.
I agree. I was thinking about 7.
I'm sure. I'll give it to you. So moving on to rules. Not so good, guys.
Yeah, the rules
Not so
were
good.
lacking. So the book is 12 pages long, and there are a lot of pictures.
Or we're ding-dongs. It's either
Well, there's some of that, but some of it.
Well, I mean, Randy did read the rules, but I mean, I don't think
the thing is
I could understand it either.
the cards were not well explained. So there was
No.
a lot of holes that, we had to go look online, but even online we didn't see a lot of the answers. Like, you could typically when you build a building, you're going to build level 1 and then you're going to upgrade to a level 2 and then upgrade to a level 3. This game doesn't do that. You get a card that's a level 1 or a level 2 or a level 3 and you play it and you get to build that level of the building. So that
except for
causes
on the
some
level 3
confusion.
might have a requirement.
They do have a requirement. They have to be on the mountainous areas. And they cannot have multiple buildings on the same building. That was actually stated in the book, but it wasn't really illustrated well. And the same for the sky towers. The definition for the sky towers in the book was not laid out very well to make it clear. It was in an example, and the example helped us to figure it out. But it didn't really say what it was. Just like, oh, you can play a sky tower. And it's like, okay, what does the sky tower do? I mean, it connects 2 areas. Great.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
Here's the thing, and this is what was sad, is I had questions. You couldn't answer them. I looked through the book. I still was lost. Like, it was just a fiasco in the sense that it wasn't very clear. And this player aid,
It's useless.
It's useless.
stupid.
All it does is...
Other than it does the math.
Yeah,
for
if you
it,
can't
so.
multiply, it can be helpful
Right.
because it's on the back. But the front of it, all it does is say harvest phase. Well, that's just one of the 4 phases. Why would you not list phase 1, what you do, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, instead of just the harvest phase?
There's really no point to
And
it.
it's like, all it does is tell you how to score, which is, that could have been 1 line on the card.
Yeah, listen, the rules, the cheat sheets, not good, guys.
No.
This was painful to learn, and knowing the game now, it shouldn't have been that painful.
It's a very simplistic game. We made it more complicated by trying to figure it out and assuming things.
And I remember the first time I played it, I wasn't with you guys. I was with Vincent and Charlie and them, and they scored completely wrong. So even for that group, the rules were confusing enough to where scoring was not clear to them. They had like 300-400 points because they were multiplying where they weren't supposed to. So it was huge scoring.
Yeah, long story short, the rules were bad. I think all of us could agree to that.
Yeah.
Score-wise, I think the rules were so bad it was unplayable unless you looked online or we called people for help to play this one. I think that's kind of telling. I'm going to give
You think it was unplayable? I don't think it was unplayable.
Well, it would have been played incorrectly. I wouldn't
yeah,
call it unplayable.
I think we've been
I would
playing
call
wrong.
it incorrectly playing
Yeah.
if you interpret them incorrectly.
But there were moments where we literally didn't know how to do something.
Oh,
I mean,
no,
the game did stop at several different points.
Yes,
where
it definitely was frustrating. Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm gonna give this one probably a 3. I think is where I'm at.
That's where I was. That's where I was leaning.
I agree. I think so. So to me, unplayable would be a 0.
Yeah. Now this is again the first edition that was released at Gen Con. When they released Future, they may have improved the rules.
Right.
I can't say for sure. It's worth getting the correct rules for this. Don't scrap the game because you're confused by the rules, because once you get them right, the game is actually enjoyable.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Which is why we're going to talk about gameplay
That's
next. So gameplay. So first, there is a drafting component. So you get a stack of 12 cards. You pick two
For a 3-player game.
For a 3-player game. You draw 12 cards. You draw two, and then once everyone draws two, you play two.
No, you pass them to your left.
Pass them to your left, and then play two.
Yeah, and then alternating rounds, you're supposed to pass to the right.
Right. Well, anyway, so you keep drafting until those 12 cards eventually goes away, and you've played 12 cards for that round. So on those player cards, there are a couple different functions. There's where you get to place a bunny on a territory spot. You get to add different buildings. So either you can build cities or build additional resources to those spots depending on the card. And then there are scroll cards. Scroll cards allow you victory points at the end of game, and basically your end of game scoring and other things. Some of them are just straight victory points. Others are, you get so many victory points for X, or so many victory points for Y, or X many victory points if you have the most. The things that were confusing was the sky bridge. So the sky bridge, you get 2 tokens, two to place in 2 different areas that connect non-adjacent fiefs.
Yep.
So just being aware of that one. That one was one that kind of held us up because we really didn't understand it. And then the camps are a temporary space that you just place your bunny, place the camp, knowing that you could lose it possibly during the gameplay. Other than that was... Oh, and then scoring-wise, so after you do that, you score at the end of the round, and it's based on unique different resources that are occurred by the number of point towers in a fief, which is a cluster of your bunnies.
That are all connected adjacently.
Not diagonal.
Not diagonal. So just being aware of that. And then, like I said, you have the end of game victory points. So overall, I actually enjoyed the gameplay. I'm not a huge fan of area control, but I wouldn't consider this area control because you can't take spots from other people. You can,
because if you build a farm and then I get the card that has that spot where you built the farm, I would build over you.
No, you can't build a farm. You're talking about camp.
That's what I meant, is the camp.
Well,
so if someone builds a camp, I could build a castle or a city over that, potentially. But that didn't happen a whole lot.
Well, the thing is then you know that, right? When you build a camp, you know that
it's
a temporary space.
Yeah, it's basically to connect it for a scoring round so that you can get the points for that round.
Yeah, you don't go in it hoping that you keep it for the whole game. If you do, great, but if you don't.
Yeah, so I think that is a component that I actually like. I like it. I don't mind area control when you don't take it from me. I like to build better. So I think it does hit that niche. What did you guys think about gameplay?
I think it's a lot of fun. It's light. It's light-hearted, not just light and mechanics, but it's light-hearted. So you go in it expecting a fun time, and I did.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's unfortunate the rules are as hard as they are because this is really an introductory game. This could have been an introductory game for a new gamer. But because the rules are so messy, if I were a new gamer, I would just give up gaming. Because, I mean, trying to learn this and, if this was my first exposure to gaming, it would be frustrating.
I don't know if I'd give up, but if you don't know that there's other resources available, it would be frustrating.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As a new gamer, you're not going to know to go to Board Game Geek. You're not going to know to do these things. So this, I can't call this an introductory game anymore. I'm going to have to call it a light to medium game just because the rules are such a mess. As far as the gameplay is so simplistic, it could easily be an introductory game. So if you've got someone who can teach you the game, I think it could be an introductory game for somebody new. But I don't think it's something as an introductory new person coming into the gaming, I would want to pick this up as the first game. But I think it is a lot of fun. I think, I like the drafting. I like the fact that I can choose how I'm going to make my in-game score work and combine. I kind of, with what I did and the way I won was I piggybacked a lot of my scoring cards such that they gave me not just the points, like 12 points here, but 15 points for this category. So they kind of compounded on each other. And I like that you can do that. It's hard to keep track of that, but it's nice that you have that flexibility and strategy.
Let's give it a score, guys.
I think I'm going to give it a 7. Overall, it's a fun game. It's a solid game. 7.
Okay. What about you?
I actually liked it a little more. I mean, as far as the gameplay goes, just weighing the gameplay again, I think it's closer to almost an 8 for me, I think. If it's not an 8, I think I'll give it an 8.
I'm with you on this one. It's a 7. It's a cute light game. Someone says, "Hey, let's play it." I'm
Yeah, I'm all for it. Sure.
Okay. Am I gonna pick it out? No. But I think it's solid. I think it's all right.
And we haven't tried the expansion. This is just the base game. The expansion may add some more.
I heard there's add purple. So right there,
That's a pretty big deal.
I mean, quality pieces up +1.
Yeah,
just
actually,
because.
I probably should have gone back down to a lower score because there's no blue in this game, darn it. I need to paint one of these colors blue.
So, well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We really had a fun time today, and hopefully you did too. We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
We're all going to lean our head to the left.
To the left?
To the left, to the left, to the
Hi,
right,
everybody.
to the right. Take it back now, y'all.
Double hop this time. Everybody clap your hands.
You're totally putting this at the end.